Hello, everybody. Welcome. Great to have you here. Thank you for being here on my live stream. Today, we're basically streaming live over YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. But in addition to that, we're also on my podcast, which is the Results Mastery podcast. So if you've not already signed up for that, then I strongly recommend you do. I'm always adding useful content, great ideas in terms of marketing, sales, and business growth. So please feel free to subscribe to that. Sorry, I've just realized I've left my mobile phone on, so that proves this is live. I ought to turn it off, which I've now done. So, yeah, really exciting, particularly as my podcast now is on Amazon Music. It's also on iTunes and Spotify and about 30 other places, culminating in over 8,000 views per episode. So, it's very exciting. You probably gather I'm reasonably excited right now and looking forward to sharing some great ideas with you. So today is based around a service that I offer called Sales Mastery. Okay. And this is one of the most important things that you can do to grow your business. Now, if you're here, if you're on this is what we're all about. We're about helping businesses to grow. I've been doing this for 31 years. Can you believe that? I can't. I think I must have been very young when I started. But seriously, 31 years working with over 10,000 businesses, and I've helped them achieve an average growth of around 45%. That's average. Not all of them have grown that much. Some of them have grown far more, some of them less, but an average of 45%. So if you want to know about that and how I might be able to help you do that, then go to results-mastery.com and book a free, no obligation meeting with me. So if you've got any questions at all, anything you want to know during the session today, I'll try and answer them. So just ask them in the chat and I'll handle everything pretty much at the end probably. But if I get the chance in between, I'll do it during the actual presentation. But yeah, great to have you here, and great to thank you sincerely for being here and for your time. So without further ado, let's press on and start talking sales. Now, sales for some people is a little bit of a, it's like a dirty word almost. I'm not a person. I don't want to be a salesperson. Sales is not what I'm at. And on one hand, I get that. But if you ask me what's the most effective way of growing a business, without any shadow of a doubt, I'd say increasing sales conversion rates. That's the key. Conversion rates. It's how many leads do you get in, let's say, for example, in a month, how many leads do you get and how many of those do you turn into business? Because let's say you got a 20% conversion rate right now. So you get 100 leads, and that equals 20 sales. If you could improve that by 20%, so you go from 20% to 40%, which is actually a 20% improvement, isn't it? What could you do with your business with that sort of improvement? Well, over a period of time, you could double it. You could double the size of your business by improving your conversion rate from 20% to 40%, or improving it from 40% to 60% would grow it by 50%. Okay. So if you could do this, if you could master this, then the potential is massive. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be focusing on growing your business in terms of lead gen as well, obviously. But there's only two ways of growing your business, and more specifically, growing your profit, which is the purpose of a business. One, you can reduce costs. And that's a good thing to do. Go and look at what you can do to save money. I strongly encourage you to do that. Being a Yorkshireman, we don't like wasting money. And number two is to increase sales. Okay, there's three ways of doing that. One is you get new customers. Two is you increase the average transaction value, the average amount of money each customer spends each time they buy from you. And three, you increase the frequency of repurchase. So from a supermarket metaphor, you got to get more people in the door of your supermarket. You've got to get them to fill their baskets more or fill it with more expensive products and services, and you've got to get them to come back to you again and again and again and buy from your supermarket. That's it. So let's talk about sales. What is it that's going to help you get more sales? Well, number one, it's to develop a sales system. Most sales systems, people say, well, I don't really have one. Well, the truth is you do. It's just not written down and it's not very good. The sales system's something like this. An inquiry comes in or a telephone call goes out. And what happens then is somebody follows up. That could be by email, just, thanks for your inquiry. Somebody will be in touch soon. And then a couple of days later, somebody calls. Or it could be that a call is made straight away and some questions are asked, and that transpires and moves forward perhaps to a meeting and a proposal and a sale and so on. And that's great if that happens. But let's face it, it doesn't always happen, does it? You make a call and they don't answer the phone. You send an email, they don't get back to you. You send them a WhatsApp and they don't get back to you again. And you think after 2, 3, 4 attempts at trying to get in touch with people, oh, well, they're not really interested. Let's just add them to our database and send them our quarterly newsletter. And the biggest problem with that is that I hear different versions of this, but the version of it basically is that it takes 8 to 12 contacts to make a sale. 8 to 12 contacts. And yet most salespeople or most business owners give up after 2, 3, perhaps 4 attempts. Here lies the problem. We don't keep going. We don't keep trying. We have to keep going. It takes time. Why didn't they get back to you? Well, there's a variety of reasons, isn't there? But, if we keep going, that's really going to help. Another thing that really helps is speed. Speed stuns. Speed stuns. If you respond within a minute, people go, oh, wow, oh, thanks for getting back to me so quick. Oh, that's great. Great service. Yeah, that speed stuns. And we've got to develop a process. So a 12-step process. That might include a load of things. That might include an initial email that auto fires as soon as an inquiry comes in. Like 3 seconds later, they've got a message back saying, thanks very much for your inquiry. On it, there might be some additional information. Then the phone call, because we want to phone them quickly. So ideally we're on the phone within quarter of an hour at the latest. And we've got a script. I know I hate the word script, and you probably do too, but that's what it is. It's a list of things we're going to sell. And we're doing that in a way that we've got one mouth and 2 ears. Yeah, and we're using it in that ratio. So we're not going on and talking, because that way you're a salesperson. What you're doing is you're going in and you're listening. You're listening to what they say, to your great questions that you're asking them. Okay, so again, really, really important. Now, hopefully that's going to turn into a meeting, and that meeting into a sale. But if it doesn't, what are you going to do? Well, perhaps you're going to send them a copy of your testimonial brochure, which is basically 20 pages full of testimonials from satisfied customers. If you've got one of those, great. If you haven't, it might be a good idea to get one. You then might want to send them some video testimonials as well. You then might want to follow that up with a brochure or something like that, a more formal form of marketing literature. You might want to invite them to an event that you're running. Okay. And then you might want to phone them up again. And then you might want to send them another email and or a WhatsApp or an SMS. You with me? And all of a sudden you've got these 12 stages of your sales process. And that's great. Then, and this is really important, this is sort of step 2. It's one thing having the system, it's another thing implementing the system. A lot of people don't. They have a system and they don't even know what it is, let alone about how to implement it. And, we use something called High Level, which enables us to automate our sales system. So it's not left to the discretion of people, and I'll get round to it when I'm free. It's there and it's in their face, and it happens on autopilot. So the delivery of the testimonial document happens on autopilot. It doesn't happen because Steve's remembered to send that out next. It happens after the phone call. So once I click on my system that I've made the call, next step is, nice to speak to you. Here's a copy of the testimonial book. So if you want to know about that, by the way, we are a reseller of that. It's a fantastic software, getting better and better every day with AI. It's even now got AI calls. So that call that I mentioned a few minutes ago could be made with an AI. So you don't even have to get on the phone. But, enough about that in the future. If you want to find out about it, again, get in touch, go to my website, results-mastery.com, and we can talk about that and how that might be able to help you. So we've got to get the training in it. Now, the question is, how often should you be trained? I spoke at an event a little while ago up in Birmingham. And the event had round about 1,000 people in it. I was up on the stage. It was an all-day long thing, and I was just doing a half an hour talk just after lunch. I had the worst time ever, straight after lunch. But anyway, I went up there and I said, right, hands up. They're all business owners, so they weren't like 1,000 salespeople, 1,000 business owners. Hands up. Who's responsible in their business to sell things? And I literally got 1,000 hands. 1,000 hands went up. I said, okay, hands up. Who's done any sales training in the last 12 months? And I got about 50 hands. 50 out of 1,000 people. What are the other 950 people doing? Really? You've done no training for a year and you call yourself responsible for selling in your business? Something wrong with that picture. Would you agree? I then asked, who's had a really good year in terms of hitting target, creating sales, and so on? And do you know what? Almost, not quite, but almost the same 50 people put their hand up. Now, if you ask me how often I do sales training, if you ask the top people in the world, top companies in the world, how often they do sales training, do you know what they'll tell you? Every day. Every single day I do sales training. For me, it happens at 7 o'clock in the morning. I do 7 to 7:30. It varies. Sometimes I watch videos providing training from other sales and marketing experts. Sometimes I do role plays and I record myself. Sometimes I go and look at all my questions and make sure that I know them, that they're not just on a sheet of paper, but they're actually in here. And I work out what I could do to improve them. Other times I go and think about my objections. What objections, you may ask? Well, they're things like, well, I want to think about it. I'm going to speak to a couple of other companies before I decide whether I'm going to go with you, Steve. It could be, I've not got the budget right now, or, we're really busy at the moment. It's a really big one, actually. We're really busy at the moment. Give me a call in a month. And do you know what happens when I do that? Well, what used to happen is I give them a call in a month and they'd either duck and dive to not take my call, or if they did, they were still as busy as they were a month ago. What I always do now, this is a really good tip. What I do is if they say, I'll call you in a month, I'll say, yeah, absolutely. You know, what I would say, part of my system is this. I'd say, I fully understand how busy you are, and I'm happy to call you in a month. However, there's clearly something stopping you going ahead right now. Tell me, is there anything other than the fact that you're busy preventing you from going? So they might then say, well, yeah, it's the budget, or it's this, we've got this coming up, or that's the reason, and so on. Because what you want to always do when somebody gives you an objection, always make it the last objection. So if they said, I need to speak to my partner, I'd say, okay, I fully respect that and understand. So tell me, other than speaking to your partner about it, is there anything else that you're worried about? Or, you know, other than the cost, if we could get over the cost, perhaps we could split the cost into monthly payments. Would there be any other reason that you didn't go ahead? No, it's just about the cost. Yeah, so that's a really good tip. But the other tip that I was going to give you is, if they said, if we agree that I was going to call them in a month, I'd say, right, I'll call you in a month. So how's the 14th of July at 2 o'clock? Is that okay? And then I'd send them a link to put into their diary so they know on Tuesday, the 14th of July at 2 o'clock, they've got an appointment, albeit a telephone appointment or perhaps a Zoom appointment with me. You see how powerful that is? Much more powerful than just leaving it, oh yeah, I'll give you a call in a month's time. And probably, you know, if you've not got a really good CRM system like High Level, you might forget, you might make a note, you might, you know, they're not in, they've gone on holiday, you know, and you just waste a load of time. The other thing I'd advise is, if they say, give me a call in a month's time, I'd say, I'm happy to do that, but tell me. Sometimes people say, give me a call in a month's time, and actually what they mean is they're not interested. Tell me, which is it with you? I'd rather not mess around. Are you genuinely interested in this? They go, oh, yeah, I am. They go, well, to be honest, no, I probably won't be. Okay, great. That saves me messing, saves them being hassled, and we can get on with our lives. So that's, I think, pretty much all I've got for you today. I want to be respectful of your time. We're coming up to 20 minutes. So if you want to know more from me, if you're looking for some training, some coaching, I run a fantastic group called the Results Mastermind Group. I've got a program called the Kickstart program, which starts at £25 a month for startup businesses. That's all, not for established ones, £25 a month. And then I've got also a program called the Platinum program, which is for businesses probably turning over $1 million plus, where we do all the marketing for them and they outsource it to us with our designers and copywriters and AI functionality. And I work as your marketing director and so on and so forth. So if any of that's of interest, please let me know. Just going to go to chat, see if I've got anything in there. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? People judge everybody by their accents. You know, we do, whether we like it or not. You know, the lady that sorry, I think it's I'm not sure if it's a lady or a man. Urtiza, I think is the name, and Yeah, the Pakistan accent, I do get. Sometimes we actually find it hard to understand. My advice, and I've got a guy who works for me in India. I say just slow down a bit. You guys seem to speak really, really quick, so slowing down might help. I've got a Yorkshire accent. Some people can't understand what I'm saying as well. So I suppose my number one piece of advice is just get over it. Just get on with it, and if people don't, think you're spamming or whatever, there's probably nothing you can do other than use an AI to make that initial call, because you can just say, speak in this accent, and the quality of those voice AIs now is just. I was on a phone call the other day. I'll just tell you this quick story. I was on a phone call the other day, and this guy's trying to sell me a voice AI to make all my sales calls for me. And I said, yeah, but the trouble is with voice AI is you can always tell. You can tell it's an AI, can't you? And he said, well, you didn't. And I went, are you an AI? He said, yeah, of course I am. Why would I use a human being to make phone calls from a company that sells AI voice? And I went, oh yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. So, really interesting, the fact that, this is becoming, ever more popular, really. So, my pleasure. Glad to help. Thanks for tuning in as well. I really do appreciate it. So that's it. I'm going to finish now. Don't forget, I do these every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So keep looking out for them. If you want to message me, feel free to do so. You can get me at steve-mills.com. Send me a message. I'll make sure you get invited to the events in the future. Other than that, thanks very much.